Welcome. I'm making this video for two reasons, okay? Reason one, this and this are the same exact person. Neither is fake, both are very real, but I feel like these two and many other parts of me have existed so separately in my life over the last couple of years, on my social media, in the minds of people, in probably my own mind. So separately. Which makes me feel like, oh, which is fake? Like, is one fake? Like, it just causes a lot of tension in my soul, if you may. So now I want to call back all of these little pieces of me that have splintered off into a bajillion pieces back together into one whole me so that I can move forward in my journey. Okay, that is reason number one. Reason number two is, I'm pretty sure there is somebody out there, one person probably out there, who subscribed to me all those years ago, if not at the beginning of my YouTube channel, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, who subscribed and is still subscribed and looks at me and my social media from time to time and just goes like, what the fuck happened to this girl? And I feel like this video will serve as an answer probably to you if you fall in that category, and it will also help me like bring back all these pieces of me, and doing that is very important in my life right now. So those are the two reasons why I'm making this video. Now, a lot has happened in my life since 2021 where this story time kind of actually begins. A lot. Half of it I don't even, I think, remember, but a lot has happened. I'm going to try and keep this story time limited to or focused on things or events that directly or indirectly contributed to me not posting YouTube videos anymore, okay? So this will obviously be things like direct events like, oh, XYZ ने मुझे ऐसा बोल दिया मेरे content के बारे में, तो मुझे ऐसा feel हुआ इसमें, direct stuff like that, or indirect stuff like things that I was going through, okay, life events that were happening separate from YouTube, unrelated to YouTube, but things that were happening in my life which, I don't know, maybe I was not able to process or whatever, that just put me in a spot where I was uninspired or just not in the right headspace to create. Okay, so those are some disclaimers. Oh, one more disclaimer. Anybody that I mention in this video is not liable for anything that happened, okay? Like in 2021, when this video kind of starts, I'm like 23 years old, or I was like 24, probably 23 years old, which is a grown-ass adult, okay? We expect people to have some bheja by the time they're 23, and regardless of the type of sheltered life I lived, and using that as an excuse for everything that happened to me since 2021, I now, present day, feel like I take responsibility for everything that happened. Every single thing that happened, nobody put a gun to my head and told me कि ऐसी जिंदगी जियो या ऐसा करो या वैसा करो. I chose to be a willing participant in everything that happened to me. I could have very well gotten up one day and been like, this is not the life I want to live. Let me go back to this, or let me change my life in this way. I didn't. Everything that happened, 1000% falls on my head, and I've taken responsibility for it, and I will continue to, and not a single other soul outside of me is liable for anything. Okay, great disclaimer. Now, we're gonna start from the very top, which is when I started my YouTube channel, okay? मैंने YouTube पे वीडियोस डालना शुरू किया था some 13 years ago. You're realizing 13 years ago. That's probably longer than the time frame when some of y'all actually started watching YouTube on the regular. And this is not a flex. I'm not flexing. Why is it a flex? Anybody who had an internet connection and like access to camera that could record footage could do it. This is not a flex, which I feel like a lot of the times I say things and people hear it and they're like, yeah, she's flexing. No, there's always a deeper meaning to what I'm saying, but it's chill. It's totally fine if you think. But the reason why I'm saying that I started all those years ago, making content so many years ago, is because it is to show you how much of an integral part YouTube was of my life, just how much joy it brought me. So, so that you can gauge the type of pain I was in later in life to step away from something that brought me so much joy. Okay? Crazy, man. Life's crazy, but hey, makes for a good story. So, yeah, so I start like, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago, I post my first YouTube video. And it's, I'm making YouTube videos on my family laptop. Laptop में जो webcam नहीं होता है, उसमें मैं record करती थी footage using like some third party app that was pre-installed on our family laptop. It was a Windows laptop. And yeah, didn't have a camera, obviously didn't have a phone. मुझे बहुत बाद में मिला by the way phone life में, but that's story time for another time. So I'm like in 8th class, I'm recording videos using that little webcam on the family laptop. I'm editing the footage using another app that was pre-installed on a Windows laptop called Windows Movie Maker. I don't know how many of y'all have heard of it, but that's what I used to do, and it was dumb shit. I mean, not even dumb. Like it was just teenager stuff. Okay, I used to make videos about my earring collection, and there's like 12 earrings that I show you, or DIY craft, because I really used to be into like Art Attack and like Mad, jo Pogo pe aata tha, that type of contents. I also remember making a lot of like DIY stuff, crafty stuff. And then I don't know, I also made a podcast called Sagacious Stuff. I don't know, a lot of it is privated now, but for the sake of this video, maybe I will public a few of those videos, because some of them just don't deserve to see the light of day. Yeah, some of them just don't deserve to see the light of day. Also, I've decided I'm not going to edit this video at all. Wherever I fumble, I'm going to own it. And you have to sit through it, okay? This one's going to be long, so bring some food, whatever, okay? So in any case, I started my YouTube journey when I was a tinnu baby, okay? And YouTube has seen me through so much. School, when like crazy shit was happening all around me in school, in the house, like wild stuff was happening, and I have this little corner, little safe space called YouTube. I'm making like my nice little how to wrap notebooks video, and it's bringing me so much peace from everything that's happening around me. So school, then it's seen me through college, then it's seen me through my first job, and now we're here. So yeah, YouTube has been a very, very integral part of my life. Love it. What a thing, man. You can just turn on a camera and share your story. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, I started making videos a long time ago. Now cut to 2020. Oh, by the way, I don't tell anybody that I have a YouTube channel, okay? In 8th class or 9th, I start. And I don't think it's until 11th or 12th when I even mention it to my family. Forget friends and people knowing in real life. Like my family, I think the first time I mentioned to them that I have a YouTube channel was in 11th or 12th. 11th probably, because they used to be really puzzled. What is it that you do on the family laptop? Because we had that BSNL or MTNL wala internet connection. I don't know which it is. One is for the state, one is for whatever, I don't know. Which essentially 11 घंटे लग जाते थे मुझे 5 मिनट का YouTube वीडियो अपलोड करने में. Can you imagine? 5 घंटे का YouTube वीडियो एडिट करने में मुझे 11 घंटे लगते थे. So they just used to ask me, what is it that you do on the family laptop? And then one day I just had to tell them like, okay, so I have this YouTube channel, I make content on it. And they didn't like pay a lot of heed to it. They didn't care much about it because what? I had 28 subscribers. For the first 2 years I did YouTube in 8th and 9th class. I had like 28 subscribers, 20, 30 maybe 32, ऐसे बढ़ बढ़ के 50 हो गए होंगे, ठीक है? 50 से ज़्यादा, हाँ 50-55 के आसपास होंगे subscribers for the first 2 years that I did YouTube. Then in 11th I let them know, okay, they don't care much. They're like, okay, chill, okay, do your thing, whatever, okay, fine. Then in like college or something, when my YouTube kind of starts taking up, picking up, when I have like close to like 5,000 subscribers, which was big for me. It still is big for me, okay? That's when I started hearing these comments from my family, which were not evil, okay? I know for a fact these were well-intentioned comments, but I am a very, very sensitive person. I'm not saying I'm a good person. I'm saying I'm a sensitive person. I don't know why people like to confuse that. Oh, a sensitive person is like a good person. No, I'm sensitive. So I like catch things a lot quicker. Okay, good and bad. So in any case, these comments used to be something like, and I'm going to imitate the exact comment that I heard once because I remember. My sister said something like, I'm gonna try to like imitate the exact tone, okay? शालू, तुम अच्छे अच्छे टॉपिक्स पे वीडियो क्यों नहीं बनाती हो? नहीं शालू, तुम अच्छे अच्छे टॉपिक्स पे वीडियो बनाया करो ना. Okay, so it's not like discouraging. It's not like, hey bitch, I hate what you do, shut the fuck up and sit down. No, it's just like her opinion of like the type of content I should make. And it's crazy because all of my content was vanilla, okay, until like 2021, or even like up until like now. I feel like all of my no, not now, but like until 2021, all of my content was very vanilla. Hey, today I'm going to get my COVID vaccine, or like, hey, we're going to this cafe, or it's like a travel vlog or something like that, okay? And I hear this from my mom as well. My father, I don't know if he's ever seen my YouTube channel. That's chill. But like my mom and my sister used to, as my YouTube channel kept growing, keep telling me like, hey, तुम better चीज़ों पे video बनाओ. Now I don't know what better was because I never had a discussion with them as to what better was. I just used to get really agitated because I was like, मैं इतनी मेहनत से कुछ कर रही हूँ, मेरा एक vision है, उसमें आप क्या better क्या, मतलब like what, you want me to make videos about like plastic, a boon or a curse, or like internet, a boon or a curse, like what, like environment, like what do you want me to. So we never had that discussion, but it always used to just bug me, like why do they say that? And at that point I was like, ugh, उनको क्या ही पता है, कुछ नहीं पता है. At this point I'm like, they probably had some idea of like, this could be nice for her to do, or she could probably do this well, but I didn't understand that then. I just was like, when I make it big, when I'm like famous one day, tab inko pata lagega. So that kind of was like the first L I took when it comes to discouragement, and when it comes to like actively, like first L I took, I didn't take it actually, I don't know, but like the first wave of discouragement, I think, perceived discouragement, let's say that, because I don't think they were discouraging, because my mother featured in a few of my videos later in life, like after the initial years of college, when I started working and stuff, she featured. So did my sister. They used to tell their friends, their colleagues about like my channel, so I'm pretty sure they were proud of me. There's no part of me that doesn't believe that they were proud of me. Now after this video, I don't know, but I also don't care about a lot. I just care about myself now in a selfish way. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that they were proud of me. But like I kept hearing these comments throughout the years. कभी कुछ sprinkle कर लिया और मैं इसको पकड़ के बैठ जाती थी कि क्या बोल रहे हैं, like क्या मतलब क्या है इसका, ठीक है. So that's that. But I was kind of able to, when I was younger, man, the willpower I had and like the ability I had to not listen to anything anybody said and just be confident was wild. It was insane. School times especially, I was like, fuck that. Like, I did not care at all, okay. बड़े होके पता नहीं क्या हो गया, बट ठीक है, धीरे धीरे हम पता लगाएंगे कि क्या हो गया, और फिर हम ये भी पता लगाएंगे कि उसको कैसे फिक्स करना है. बट before 2021, up until 2021, I'm like hearing a lot of this, like अच्छा ऐसा content बनाओ ना, मतलब थोड़ा अच्छा content बनाओ ना, not even like specific ये बनाओ, अच्छा content बनाओ ना, ठीक है. Then in 2021, the last video that I remember posting where I'm like sane, and I feel like the last video that came in continuation of my regular posting schedule was this one title, Hi Again. Okay. Now, in this video, I talk about how I have switched jobs, switched teams at work, because I essentially, for the last 6 years, worked for the same company. I did move up, uske baare mein baad mein bataungi, but yeah, I switched teams within the same company, okay? After this video, around August, crazy how we're gonna go into things that I've not spoken about online in so long. And I thought I never will, you know? I thought I'm just never gonna talk about like everything that I'm doing while I was doing things in 2021, 2022, and then everything that happened. One day I'll just get back, everything will be back to normal. But that's not how it works. You have to like confront. But in any case, after that video, in August, I break up with my partner of 5.5 years. Okay? Because I could really, you all have seen her, okay? The reason we broke up, I don't want to go into like mad details, but it's just that my whole family knew, her whole family knew, and it had been so long. It just felt like, okay, like soon in life, not soon because I was like young, I was like year 2 into my job, but soon we may get married. And then in my head it was like, wait, but I've never been in a relationship with a guy though. I don't want to say I hated men, but I did not feel like I could be somebody's lugai until that point, okay? I don't know if I do right now also, but in 2021 when I broke up, I was like, I don't want to be sitting in this beautiful house 10 years later with her as my lawfully wedded partner, not in India, maybe somewhere else, and maybe have kids, who knows, adopt, or like have dogs or whatever, and look at her and just be like, but what if? You know, I didn't want that. Also, another reason, I started having these weird dreams of like, this is gonna sound crazy, but like Drake. And one day I was so worried, you know, because I was like getting it on with Drake in my dream. And I woke up and I didn't tell her then, but I told her like a couple of days later. I sat her down at Dunkin' and I was like, so I've been dreaming of like Drake. And it just didn't feel right, you know. I had to be honest, right? Also, since we're being honest, I did not develop feelings, but I did develop like little like attractions for male specimens around me. And that was crazy because like in the last 5 years, I've like not even entertained the thought of a dude in any way, shape or form. Physically, mentally, बात करने में भी नहीं अच्छा लगता है. Physically तो दूर की बात है. दिखते भी ठीक ठीक ही हैं. I mean, I've got everything. Like, why do I even need to think about it? But like in 2021, I'm like thinking about that. You know, somebody I'm working with, I'm just like, he's kind of like, why he kind of like, you know. But nobody in particular who I was talking to, or nobody in particular who I was like, yeah. I definitely had like little crushes on people, like, oh my god, what would it be like for me to be with this person? What would it be like? Okay, I was like wondering a lot. So naturally, like, it just did not feel right ki I keep on being in this relationship. And yeah, we broke up, okay? And the way I broke up with her should probably go in the next video that I'm going to make, which is going to be titled all the horrible things I've ever done, because I feel really called to do that. And there's a lot of horrible shit I've done, okay? I'm like, I don't want to say I'm a horrible person, but I've done some really horrible shit. So, broke up with her over text, a relationship of 5.5 years, okay? Because I'm just so like, I told her, like, okay, you know what? We're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into like what I told her, but I've broken up and I've blocked her. And now I'm like, okay, this is done. I don't have to feel the burden of like I'm doing anything wrong. Like now I can dream about fucking Drake peacefully without any guilt. Okay? I was not inducing these dreams either. पता नहीं मुझे क्यों ही आ रहे थे. So crazy. I've broken up, okay? In August, I've broken up with my partner of 5.5. एक मच्छर है मार दूँ. लेकिन मुझे तंग करता रहेगा. You know what I'm saying? This has got to be the craziest video you've ever watched. But hey, whoa, brother. Did I get it? Yeah, okay. I don't know if I got it. There was something though, but ये बचता रहता है कभी कभी. Anyway, going back to the story. I don't process any. नहीं मारा मैंने उसको, कहीं तो घूम रहा है, कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है. I got it. One sec. Maybe I should cut this out. Wait, I'll be back when this is dead. Yeah, I got it. Okay, I'm back. We don't have to edit this out. Okay, cool. That's cool fee, by the way. Okay. So, breakup. And breakup से पहले मेरा team change हो चुका है. So I moved from the rights management team, which it's a lot of like copyright law. I'm a journalism student, okay? But like a lot of IP stuff that I was doing for the company, to the brands team, where I'm in a social media role, okay? And now I'm reporting directly to a person whose position I'm not going to say because then they'll be identifiable, so we're not going to say that. But I'm reporting to a very senior person now, okay? Or he seemed very senior. No, he was very senior, okay, at that point. And my way of coping with the breakup, or like, I don't know what, but I was just like, I'm gonna dive into my work like crazy. I'm going to this is already 21 minutes. That's crazy. I don't know how many parts this is gonna be. Crazy. कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है? So I was like, I'm going to dive into my work, and that's what I did. I was working until 11, 12, 1 at night, 8 in the morning, on weekends, and I have proof for everything, okay? And we have to make a story time on the person that I was reporting to. But for now, I'm just like I've just like धसा दिया मैंने अपने आप को अपने काम के अंदर, okay? Work is everything. Work is my life. And it actually worked for me, at least for those like 1.5, 2 months after my breakup. August, September, October, 1 month after my breakup, it worked so well. And also like, yeah, I had a lot of distractions and it worked. It was great. But I didn't process my breakup or like anything that happened. Nothing, none of it. कोई बात नहीं, बहुत बढ़िया काम चल रहा है. Kind of starting to feel not burnt out, because I honestly don't know what burnout is. हम बहुत सारे words ऐसे, एक और मच्छर है. Come on man, are you crazy? Why are you here? Go away. ठीक है? हम बहुत सारे words weirdly use कर लेते हैं, which like we don't know what it is, and then कोई और मतलब निकाल लेता है. I don't know if I was burnt out, but I was definitely like, I need a break or something. But that's when a friend of mine, who was a very new friend in my life, okay? मतलब मुझे एक ही साल हुआ था being friends with her, and she was really, really cool, okay? Like, she was famous on Instagram. Cool. That's when we were on a FaceTime call around September or something, and she's like, you know what? Let's go to Himachal. And I was like, you know what? Yes, let's do this. We'll go for a week, and I'll get a break and it'll be fun. Great. Fab. Now, also, this friend is kind of like pivotal in my life because she was huge on Instagram, okay? And I was like, not huge at all, still not huge. But I'm like in my own bubble, okay? At this point in life, I'm in a bubble on YouTube. Like, Instagram is a platform for me at this point after my breakup, before this trip, where Instagram is like, okay, that's a platform I use to post stories, talk to my subscribers, and also posts or pictures when I'm promoting a new video. Okay, that's it. That's all Instagram was. And back then in 2021, I don't even think like a lot of crazy stuff like reels and all had come up. So it was not an addicting platform. To some people it was. Like, I think, I don't know if it was addicting to her or not, but like it was her main platform. This girl's, I'm doing this as if I'm gonna attach a photo of her, I'm not. But it was her main thing, okay? But for me, Instagram didn't matter. People who were big on Instagram did not matter. I remember her asking me once, damn, I need water. Hey, you don't know Arpit? And I was like, brother, kulfi ka pani gira diya maine. Arpit who? And she's like, Arpit Bala? This is 2021, okay? I don't think a lot of people knew, but he was probably niche, I don't know. Also, he's a YouTuber, right? Did he start on Instagram? I don't know, but she said something like, Arpit Bala is अर्पित बाला की कोई रेलेवेंस नहीं है स्टोरी में, बाय द वे, पता नहीं मैं क्यों बोल रही हूँ, बस क्योंकि अब वो इतना पॉपुलर हो गया, तो तब नहीं था शायद, या तब मुझे नहीं पता था. I don't know whether I didn't know or whether I chose to live under a rock, but for me Instagram really was nothing. Okay, YouTube was my everything. You're not understanding. YouTube was my everything. So in any case, ऐसे बहुत सारे conversation हुए बीच में. She would like show me memes, okay, things that went popular on Vine or something that would come on Instagram, meme pages, and I didn't understand memes. I was like, okay, whatever, and she would show me, and I just really felt like I was missing out, okay, but it didn't, like, that feeling of, oh my god, I'm missing out on, like, knowing this side of culture didn't really set in tab. It was just introduced to my life tab, okay, कि Instagram पे भी कुछ है जिसके बारे में आपको नहीं पता है, शालू आप मिस आउट कर रही हैं. These were not her words. This is what was happening in my brain, okay? So remember, this friend introduced short form, Instagram, this world to me. I was just, and the thing is that in 2021, I was not, or like throughout my YouTube journey until now, I was not even watching Indian YouTubers. Again, this is not a flex, it's just that I was just watching people from outside, like PewDiePie. I was watching a lot of Ryan Higa, okay, उसके channel का नाम था. Jenna, I think, came much later in the picture, but like all of these creators, okay. So even in YouTube, I'm very far from the creators geographically, and like it just feels like it's just my space here, okay. And the few Indian YouTubers I did watch, that's because like we were probably part of like a Facebook group where we were cross-posting to boost engagement, stuff like that. So these are people I knew personally, okay, and you won't believe the people who now have like 3 million, 4 million subscribers who I knew personally and spoke to on a day-to-day basis. But I'm name drop nahi karenge because that's not cool. Okay? So it used to be a nice community, okay, back then, back in like 2013, 14 when I started YouTube, it used to be really chill, really cool. So jo bhi, anyway, we go to this trip, okay, to Himachal. We decide on going to McLeodganj. That's the first time I'm going to McLeodganj. I've been to Himachal before 2021. But in 2020, like I've been to, where all have I gone? Manali, Kasol, Shimla, all of this. Like a few of these were college trips. One I went with like my college best friend. फिर फैमिली के साथ बचपन में तो शिमला सभी गए हैं ऑलमोस्ट, ठीक है. तो ऐसा था, ऐसा नहीं कि लाइक ओ आई हैव नेवर बीन टू द हिल्स टाइप शिट, ऐसा नहीं था. बट आई डोंट नो व्हाई दिस हिमाचल ट्रिप चेंज्ड माय brain chemistry forever. We went for a week and so much happened, man. It was crazy. This Himachal trip was insane. In this 1 week, certain things happened, which I don't have the courage to talk about right now, but maybe someday I will. But outside of that, I met like so many cool people, so many new people. We lived in a hostel. We booked a hostel for like a week, and we met a lot of people from different walks of life. Interesting experience, really interesting, really good and really bad. One of the worst experiences I've had in my life happened during that week, but McLeod happens to be my favorite place ever. Like I really want to go settle there. In any case, coming back to what was happening, ठीक है, एक हफ्ता हो गया. We also smoked a lot of on the trip. I've again smoked before, ठीक है. In college, I went to an all girls college. So like seniors are rolling blunts, you know, somebody's giving me something, or like classmates are doing it and they're like, hey, chal back gate aaja, you know, we're gonna just smoke a joint. And I'm like, cool, let's do that. ठीक है. So, but I'm by 2021, by the time I go to this trip, I still don't know how to roll, okay. I'm good at like enjoying the high and like being around people when I'm high, but I don't score myself, I don't roll myself, I don't keep shit on me, okay. It's like there were always people around me to help me smoke. Even in office, there was this guy who used to, you know, smoke up on the reg. And before this trip, I never even felt the need to, do substances by myself. It was always like, okay, if I'm around people, sure, let's do it. Okay. But after this trip, something changed. Okay? We'll get to that slowly. Because, like, come on. It was so freeing. It was like I have not processed my breakup until now. Okay, at all. And being in Himachal, like looking at those vast mountains and just being high there, it just felt like, wow, what are my problems? Nothing. Look at this. Wow, beautiful, so nice, so quiet. No chen pem of the city, so good. I got addicted to the hills in that 1 week, I think. That's how it changed my life forever and my brain chemistry. But धीरे धीरे बढ़ेंगे ठीक है. हम इस ट्रिप से वापस आते हैं. Takes a 1 week later, her and I come back. I come back and I'm really sad. Okay, if you've been to the hills or like any nice, fun, peaceful, relaxing trip, coming back to the city, back to your job, back to all of this is always hard. But for me, it was extra hard. क्योंकि मैं special हूँ नहीं. It was just hard, man. I hated it. Like, I hated it to the point. And by this time, I'm like in therapy for like 4 months. I'm in therapy for 4 months now, okay? 4 months? Or a year? No, probably like 4-5 months, okay? Because my company had started sponsoring our therapy. So yeah, I'm in therapy by this time for like 3-4 months. I come back and I'm just so fucking sad. I remember after that week coming back home and like hugging, after like a therapy session, hugging my mother and telling her, I think I'm going to kill myself. Which I was feeling. It was not an act. I was genuinely feeling like if I'm in this city for one more night, I will off myself. I don't want to be here. So then they're like, okay, so like, what do you want? And I was like, I want to go back. They're like, oh, okay. At this point, my parents just don't know what to say, okay? They're just like, okay, we trust you, like, do your thing. So I book a bus and I go back to the hills. Now I don't come back home for 3 months, okay? After this, no. I did come home for Diwali for like maybe 3-4 days and then I went back again. And this, like, coming back home for Diwali for 3-4 days हटा के, this is like a good 2.5-3 month stretch. इस स्ट्रेच में मैं रहती हूँ मैक्लोडगंज में, मैं रहती हूँ धर्मशाला में, मैं रहती हूँ थोड़ा सा कसौल में, मैं रहती हूँ तो कसौल नहीं, हाँ कसौल में रुकी थी कुछ दिन, but then we moved to Katagla because कसौल was just getting too much. Now Katagla is also too much, but तब उतना नहीं था, ठीक है. I stay in Tosh for a bit, very few days, 3 days maybe, but by and largely my main base is मैक्लोडगंज only, ठीक है. Now यहाँ पे मुझे फील होती है ऐसी फ्रीडम लाइफ की पहली बार, विच इज़ इनसेन. मतलब रात के 11 बजे मैं बस स्टैंड में बैठी हूँ एक दोस्त के साथ, कभी कभी अकेले, ठीक है, और फूक भी रहे हैं और मतलब बढ़िया चल रहा है लाइफ, ठीक है, वंडरफुल, लाइक इट जस्ट फील्स ग्रेट. And I'm meeting so many people and like everybody is coming and like staying for like 3 days or like doing a weekend trip to McLeodganj and then they have to go back. But I get to stay. Why? Because I'm told at home मैं आऊँगी जब मैं आऊँगी तब, ठीक है. मतलब ऐसा कुछ बोला भी नहीं था मैंने, but like I was just like yeah I want to stay more ऐसे ऐसे चल रहा था, extend ही करती जा रही थी मैं, crazy, ठीक है. तो उसके बाद क्या होता है कि like इसके बीच में क्या होता है कि I'm gonna be honest, I don't retreat from work. Retreat? Is that the right word? I don't back off from work. This is work from home by the way. During this time हमारा ऑफिस नहीं खुला था. हाँ. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि I was doing काम चोरी or anything. Compared to August and September, when I was working till 12 at night, all I started doing during these 3 months is work till 6 and then not be online on Slack or not be available on WhatsApp and just like do my work and then be off. And then of course बीच में ऐसा होता था once in a blue moon where like I'm not reachable because for an hour, maybe because the internet went out or something happened, or I'm like, going from one cafe to the other, one cafe which has Wi-Fi, walking to the other, which is like, I don't know, 20 minutes away or something, but I wouldn't have Wi-Fi or something like that, okay? And I'm going. At least that's how it started. Like the tension between me, myself, and my boss. Okay, and he started noticing that, well, this should be really story time for the video titled "My Toxic Boss." But essentially, yeah. I quit my job towards the end of those 3 months because it just got so much for me. Something we'll talk about. I have all the receipts, man. I will make a video about it if y'all want to, and like, why not? At this point, why not? This shit I'm gonna admit in this story time, why not do that also? But I quit my job because the line between personal and professional was completely blurred. I was hearing things from my boss about how should I live my life, everything that I'm doing wrong in my life, and like, why are you not reachable at like 8 p.m.? And I was like, bro, this is 8 p.m. My work hours are done. I was out for dinner. Why should I be available? Just because I have been the whole 1 year and you're used to that? And this was a very difficult decision, guys, not gonna lie, because again, this is content for that video, my toxic boss. But because like I was very grateful for the opportunity that I had been given, but also at the same time I had started feeling like this is exploitation, man, and I was not even making a lot in that role. By like after I switched to this brand's team in like June, July, August में जिसमें मैंने शुरू किया था, I was making like what 55k, which is not a lot, but as a 23-year-old it felt like हाँ अच्छा है, बढ़िया है, I'm progressing at least in my career. My first salary was 35,000, so from that it felt like a decent jump. Okay, in like with 1.5 years of working experience, that was a decent jump. People on my team was still making like 35k for like year 3 into the job, and in the second year itself I jumped to 55, so that felt big. In hindsight, should have negotiated and shit, but that's okay. I did feel grateful. People think that, fuck what people think, actually, fuck that. This is about what I think. But yeah, I called up the HR, and y'all, the HR of my company is such a nice person. So nice. Until the last moment, she was talking to me. She was like, think about it. Don't take hasty decisions right now. Think about whether you actually want to quit. If you do, that's fine. But don't take hasty decisions. But I was like, no, I want to quit right now, because my boss had said something like really, like my reporting manager, not even my boss, my reporting manager, also boss, had said something really rude to me, like, hey, send in your resignation when you're online next at like 9 p.m. Bitch, I was available all day. Why didn't you text me then? Why should I be available for you at 9? But in any case, I quit my job. And this is like when I'm in the last week of my trip, okay? And where my friend and I made this friend. She's like, I don't know, like a few years older than me. And she had come from Noida. And I met her there only. We became friends there. तो फिर हम वहाँ पे बहुत सारी जगह साथ घूमे थे. फिर हम मनाली गए थे साथ में. So while I was boarding the bus for Manali, where we were gonna stay for the next week or so, and then come back to Delhi, I sent in my resignation. So now I'm unemployed, but I'm feeling like this absolute like weight has lifted off of me. Okay, I'm feeling great. And during this whole 3-month trip, I did take clips and footages of things, but I was so strung out because I was like kind of high the entire 3 months. I mean, I have to own up to it, right? Like I was like zooted the entire 3 months. So a lot of that footage doesn't make sense. And also, by this time, there's this looming sadness in me. I've been sad and crying since summer of 2021. Actually, I have been sad since I was born, but my sadness did not start in 2021. I was sad in 2021. I was sad in 2020. I was sad in 2019. Okay, since like June, July, before my breakup, I've been sad. Being sad and depressed was part of the reason why I had all these thoughts and I broke up. Then I dug into work and I was not very sad for a while, but I was still a little sad. Then I came here and I went back and I was sad again. So, like, this sadness is just growing on me, okay? It's slowly growing on me. So, yeah, I'm not able to do any kind of storytelling when I'm taking all of this footage during that 3-month trip. So, सोचा था मैंने कि हाँ हम इकलौट जाएंगे, मैं और मेरी नई दोस्त, तो मैं कंटेंट बनाऊंगी बिकॉज शी वाज मेकिंग व्लॉग्स एंड शी मेड सम रियली कूल स्टफ व्हिच आई लुक बैक एट फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम एंड आई लाइक इट. But I didn't. I couldn't. I just could not. Okay, I was like, okay, so you know what? Let me take it easy. Let me enjoy these 3 months. This is 40 minutes already. That's crazy. If you all watch until the very end, I expect some comments, okay? Please do. So by this time, I'm feeling really sad, but in any case, I am back home and I am unemployed. And this is like the last week of December that I came home. Actually, I was not supposed to come home, but then something happened. I don't remember what. I was sitting somewhere in Himachal and I was like, I really miss my family. I want to go back home. And then I booked the bus for the next day and I just came back, okay? So anyway, I'm back home. Last week of December. Last week of 2021, December. I come back home, definitely sad, but also happy to be back home, but definitely sad to be back in the city with the che pe bullshit. Where are the mountains? Where is the horizon to look at and remind myself that everything is not as big as my mind is making it? Where is it? Not there. Sad again, okay? But the real sadness was about to come. Because maybe 3 days after I'm back from Himachal, my hair is still matted. I've not even been able to comb through my matted hair, which by the way, my hair got so matted. Man, I was so tired, I was so fucked up on those 3 months of wild. But also great time, but also like I was really fucked up, okay? So I've not even combed through my matted hair where like my parents tell me, okay, so we're selling the scooter, okay? 3 things were sold after that and the first was scooter. Now, I come from a middle class family, okay? And I don't know what that had to do with anything, but ठीक है. हमारे घर में जब मैं छोटी थी, मतलब आई थिंक टिल, अब मुझे क्लास नहीं याद है, बट मे बी टिल सेकेंड और थर्ड शायद हमारे पास गाड़ी नहीं थी. हमारे पास एक स्कूटर हुआ करता था सबसे पहले, बजाज वाला जो स्कूटर होता है वो, ठीक है. और उसके कुछ साल बाद कहीं तो जब हम बहुत छोटे थे, केजी वेजी में होंगी या फर्स्ट में होंगी शायद, या उससे छोटी थी, भगवान जाने, ठीक है. कुछ तो हुआ था घर पे कि मेरी मम्मी ने बोला कि नहीं गाड़ी खरीदनी है या स्कूटी खरीदनी ही है अब, ठीक है. 2 इस पे बैठेंगे क्योंकि 4 लोग एक स्कूटर पे बैठते हैं. तब मैं इतनी छोटी थी कि मैं सामने खड़ी होती थी, ठीक है, स्कूटर में. मेरी बहन पीछे बैठती थी. सो 4 of us, my mom, my sister, my dad and I used to go on that Bajaj scooter. But then something happened someday where we were returning from some place and then my mother was like, no, either a car or at least a scooty because like it's unsafe or something, I don't know. फिर हमारे घर में आई एक स्कूटी पेप प्लस, ओके. तो और उसके कुछ साल बाद हमारे घर पे आई कार विच वाज मारुति 800, ठीक है. उससे भी मेरा अलग ही ट्रॉमा जुड़ा हुआ है, मैं बताऊंगी अभी आगे. बट मारुति 800, तो तब मुझे ऐसा लगता था, ओ माय गॉड व्हाट अ वाओ, लाइक इनसेन आवर कार. क्योंकि तब लखनऊ में हमारी लेन में, ओ बाय द वे लखनऊ इतना मेंशन करती हूँ ना, बताती हूँ अभी इसके आगे. रुको. हमारी लेन में जब हमारी गाड़ी आई थी जिस साल में, आई डोंट रिमेंबर द ईयर, बहुत पहले की बात है, ठीक है. तब हमारी लेन में सिर्फ 3 और लोगों के पास गाड़ी थी, ठीक है. तो इट वॉज अ बिग थिंग, ओके. बट कोई बात नहीं. गाड़ी बाई 2021 आई थिंक 20 या 25 साल की हो चुकी. 20-25 साल पता नहीं, कुछ तो एक उस पर हो रहा था कि गाड़ी और स्कूटर दोनों का कुछ पोल्यूशन समथिंग एक्सपायर हो रहा था दिल्ली में, कि अब यहाँ ये गाड़ी या ये स्कूटर इतना पुराना हो गया है, इट्स गोना बी इलीगल टू ड्राइव इट ऑन द रोड्स ऑफ NCR. That was what my parents told me, and that's the reason both are in great condition. I mean, not the scooter. I think they had to repair it a couple of times, but the car, because my dad drove it so meticulously and nicely and tamiz se, that the engine was good, everything. My sister also, I think, took the car for a bit beach mein, but she also drove it so nicely that the car was in tip top shape, okay. So in any case, I come back from this trip and they tell me we have to sell the scooter and it's getting sold today, in fact. So come down to the garage and say bye-bye to the scooter. I'm like, okay. I was attached. I'm the type of person, I get attached to like a pen or like a clutcher. If there's memory attached to it, good, warm, nice memory, I'll get attached to this shit and it would hurt my heart to part ways. But I rehearsed this so many times, I'm not supposed to cry, so I'm not gonna cry. So the scooter goes, okay, that day. And I'm like, okay, like, ठीक है, it's fine. I anyway was not, मतलब मुझे नहीं लगता था कि मैं कभी उस स्कूटर को चलाऊंगी या उस पर कभी बैठ के कहीं जाऊंगी, तो आई वाज लाइक ठीक है, बट इट जस्ट फेल्ट लाइक ओके वाओ, एंड ऑफ एन एरा टाइप शिट. उसके बाद क्या हुआ कि वी टुक अ फोटो, माय मॉम, माय डैड एंड आई, विद दैट स्कूटर. उसके 1 या 2 दिन बाद मुझे बोला गया कि सो वी आर ऑल्सो सेलिंग द लखनऊ हाउस. ओके, so now by the time that all of this is happening, my family and I live in Delhi, horse cars, in government quarters because my dad had a government job. Okay, तो और हमारा ट्रांसफ़र हुआ था 5th में, जब मैं 5th क्लास में थी. ठीक है, तो 5th स्टैंडर्ड से पहले, बचपन से, जब से मैं पैदा तो मैं दिल्ली में हुई थी, पर 1 साल के बाद पापा का ट्रांसफ़र लखनऊ हो गया था. तो बचपन से 5th स्टैंडर्ड तक मैं लखनऊ में पली बड़ी हूँ. ठीक है, एंड आई नो दैट लाइक I've mentioned Lucknow many times in my videos and like even to people who I meet in real life, but it's very hard for them to really grasp. कब रही तुम लखनऊ में? इतने 12 साल से तुम हौस खास में हो और अब तुम ग्रेटर नोएडा में हो. 1 साल. तो basically age 0 to like 11, 12, 11 maybe I was in Lucknow. ठीक है, तो लखनऊ में हमारा अपना घर था. ठीक है, स्टैंड अलोन, नॉट एन अपार्टमेंट, स्टैंड अलोन घर था. ग्राउंड फ्लोर ही था और छत थी हमारी, बड़ी सी, बहुत बड़ी सी छत थी. ठीक है, तो मुझे बोला गया कि वी हैव टू सेल दैट हाउस बिकॉज अब तो पापा का रिटायरमेंट हो गया. 2021 में माई डैड ऑल्सो रिटायर्ड. ओके, सो अब तो पापा का रिटायरमेंट हो गया. सो नाउ वी विल प्रॉब्ली बाय प्रॉपर्टी इन NCR बिकॉज यू आर डूइंग अ जॉब हियर, दीदी इज हियर, इट मेक्स सेंस एंड लाइक नोबडी इज गोना गो एंड स्टे इन दैट हाउस. शालू, कम ऑन. And I understood it, but also I didn't because like in 5th standard जब ट्रांसफ़र हुआ था और जब हम दिल्ली मूव हुए थे, तब मुझे ऐसा बोला गया था, mind you, I'm in 5th standard, okay, so my brain is not really very developed, but मुझे ऐसा बोला गया था oh no, you know, ट्रांसफ़र तो होता ही रहता है गवर्नमेंट जॉब में, one day we'll come back, you know, one day we will come back and live in Lucknow, probably like 3-4 साल में भी हो सकता है ट्रांसफ़र. So as an 11-year-old, I always had this in my head that अगले साल हो सकता है शायद ट्रांसफ़र, यू नो, अगले साल जा सकते हैं शायद हम वापस लखनऊ. Maybe we'll get to live in that house, you know, maybe. And it's because like imagine in like 2011 or 2012, I don't remember the year when I was in 5th standard, but during that time when like tech is not everywhere, I come from Lucknow to the heart of Delhi, in South Delhi. It was such a big cultural change for me, man. It was so hard for me. I'll make a video on that separately, but it was so hard for me. The first 3 years, my heart ached to go back to Lucknow. So much. I hated it here. Maybe not the first 3 years, the first 2 years for sure. I think by the time I was in 8th standard, I was like, ठीक है, not so bad. Started like loving Delhi. बट बचपन से यू नो, तो मतलब दिमाग में ये था कि जाएंगे. फिर उसके बाद जब मैं स्कूल कॉलेज तक आई, तब तक मुझे ये तो पता लग गया था कि ठीक है, अब हम ट्रांसफ़र तो शायद नहीं ही होगा, बट वन डे आई विल गो बैक एंड लिव इन दैट हाउस, यू नो, अपना बना लूँगी मैं. क्योंकि मुझे आज तक, आई एम 28 नाउ, मुझे आज तक वो लखनऊ वाले घर के सपने आते हैं. बिकॉज आई फील लाइक सम ऑफ माई हैप्पीएस्ट मेमोरीज हैव बिन इन दैट हाउस. So like no matter what happened in life, I always felt like one day I'll go back to that house and I'll be happy again, like I was when I was a child. Okay, just always like घर पे भी जो सब हो रहा था दिल्ली में, it just always was like लखनऊ हाउस is my place. इसलिए शायद मुझे इतने सपने आते हैं वहाँ के, बट कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है. तो स्कूटर बेच दिया उस दिन सुबह, एंड मैंने 1-2 दिन बाद बोलते हैं चलो चलो वी हैव टू गो टू लखनऊ, बिकॉज अब मुझे एग्जैक्टली नहीं याद है वेदर दे सेड हाँ चलो चलो और वेदर दे लेफ्ट अर्ली एंड देन आई वेंट और समथिंग लाइक दैट. But they're like, you should come say bye to the house and stuff. And I was like, you're right. ठीक है, तो मैं गई लखनऊ. Wow, I really thought this video, like I'd be able to cover everything in like 1 hour, and we're at 50 minutes and we've only reached until Lucknow. That's crazy. But ठीक है, तो मैं गई हूँ, घर देखा, हर चीज़ की फ़ोटो वोटो ली मैंने, बहुत बुरा लगा. मैं उस टब में भी बैठी जिसमें जब मैं छोटी थी, 1st-2nd क्लास में थी, तब मैं पूरी स्विमिंग कर लेती थी उस टब में, ठीक है. एंड आफ्टर ग्रोइंग अप लाइक आई कुड ओनली फिट अ लिटिल बिट इन इट. एंड मैंने अपने पुराने साइकिल की भी फ़ोटो खींची, वो मैं लगाना चाहूँगी, जस्ट दैट आई कैन रिमेंबर फॉर माई सेल्फ. what great memories, ठीक है. So then they sold the Lucknow house, and I'm still in Lucknow for like a day or two, and then I don't know, decided tha ki nahi, but I come back, okay. I'm just like, I can't take it, and I'm back. And during that same trip, they're also gonna sell the family car, which is the Maruti 800. And I was not there for that, I think. Or did they sell it when we came back to Noida? I don't remember. But like these 3 things got sold back to back, okay. So anyway, I'm back to Delhi. And it's like I've lost all of my sense of being, okay. I've lost my whole identity is what it felt like. Things that happened to me during the trip, plus the loss of the 5.5-year-old relationship, plus the loss of the dream of going back to Lucknow, and like anything that felt like family, like objects that held a lot of emotional value for me, everything gone at the same time. And I'm not processing any of it. I'm just not talking to anybody. I was going to therapy. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about in therapy. My first therapist was a dumb bitch. Recommended by a dumb bitch. I should not say that. Didn't work out for me, okay? But yeah, so I'm just sad. And now the sadness is reaching a point where I want to run away. I want to run away from the sadness. I'm not going to feel sad anymore, okay? So ठीक है, कार वार बेच के they come back, and now it's like, I don't know, 31st or something, or like 30th of December. And now we move out of the house that I've lived now for like the last 6 years, 6-7 years maybe, okay? The government quarter house. Not a fancy house by any means, but like most of my videos that you remember seeing are from that house, okay? And that house holds a special value again, because that room that I used to be holed up in all the time and was practically in house arrest for like 3 years, and then like all the other time of my life, it's seen me through so much. I was very attached to that room. Not that house, but like my room, man. I was so attached to that room. In fact, now I feel like when I become a rich person, or if I marry a rich person, I don't know, I'm going to recreate that exact room. That exact room I'm going to recreate. So,
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Baby, me neither. Me neither. But that was so creepy, right? My Alexa does that. That's weird as fuck. मुझे नहीं डर लगता. I'm not sad. Thank you God. But like sometimes I get so like, but I'm like, आंधे भूत आंधे देखेंगे क्या होगा. But fuck that shit. By the 31st of December 2021, we are in our Noida house, which is a rented house, because this house where I live, which is our own house, which is a villa, is still getting constructed. Actually, by that time, we didn't even know that we would buy this house. Okay, we did not know. My parents were like, okay, this was the max time that we could stay in the government quarters for. Now we have to live in a rented place and हम घर ढूंढेंगे, ठीक है. तो फिर हम आए और हम ये रेंटेड नोएडा वाले घर में रहने लगे, ठीक है. इसके बाद क्या होता है कि मैं बहुत धीरे बता रही हूँ क्या? चुप, मुझे धीरे बोलना है, कोई नहीं, फक इट। इतना नहीं सोचना है ना कि किसी की, दिस इज फॉर मी ब्रो, दिस इज सो कैथार्टिक फॉर मी, सॉरी, ठीक है। सो नाउ वी आर इन द रेंटेड नोएडा हाउस on the 31st, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go party with this one friend, the same friend जिसके साथ मैं मनाली घूम रही थी, उसी के साथ। I was like, ठीक है, मैं नोएडा में जा रही हूँ पार्टी करने। And listen to this, the Noida house where we lived, the rented house, was not bad by any means. It was a very old complex, okay, old complex, but it was very spacious. My room in particular was very big, man. I've never lived in a room that big, okay, so big. And there was this one window with like trees where I eventually put my workstation and stuff. So this was not a bad house by any means. This was just a little old. And honestly, at that point, my dissatisfaction was less to do with whatever this new rented house was like, very less to do with that, and more with like everything that I was grieving in life. I was grieving the Hoskasala staff quarter, I was grieving the Lucknow house, I was grieving like myself, I was grieving the person who said good morning to me for the last 5.5 years. Lots of grieving is happening, okay? So now I'm in like, I'm not gonna feel any more pain, baby girl. I'm not gonna let you feel any pain, is what I told myself. And then in the process of doing that, I caused myself more pain. How? This is how. You know this thing, like if you followed me for a bit, you probably know this. But if you don't, I believe in this thing that like आपका New Year's Eve जैसा जाता है, या आपका फर्स्ट डे ऑफ द ईयर जैसा जाता है ना, आपका पूरा साल वैसा जाता है, ठीक है। How do I enter 2022 zooted off a cocktail of things, okay, at a house party with 30 people I don't even recognize except like one person. She, like her, I had traveled with a little bit. Everybody else, I don't know. People are offering me like different strains and I'm smoking everything. And it's crazy. That's how I entered 2022. And 2022 was the worst year of my life. It took me 4 years up until 2026 to recover from that one single year, which was 2022. And to know more about what 2022 was like, you have to watch the second part. I really thought I would be able to cover this whole of 2022 in one video, but wow, I couldn't. Anyway, I will post it very soon. Maybe tomorrow. I will post it tomorrow. So stay tuned, because 2022 has got some real drugs. Weed is like, okay. Stay tuned.